Hello, welcome to Phantasy Star Online 2. We're in the middle of episode Alma, and kind of catching her up to date of what happened in the 40 years she's been gone, and learning how myself and Matoy have become incredibly powerful and reliant guardians. And also just getting some explanations,
Enough of this charade now,
clarifications
Shion.
of episodes
Such
1,
futile
2, and 3.
endeavors are beneath you. Oracle and Arcs are all in the palm of my hand, and soon you shall join them.
Nothing in this universe is futile. These people convinced me of that, and it is from there we began.
Very well. Struggle all you like. A few twists and turns in our story will make things all the more interesting. I will enjoy watching it all play out. Such is the pleasure and privilege of those unburdened by fleeting mortality. Such is our right. And you? I've heard so much about all of the things you've gotten up to. Do as you like. I won't impede you. Make things interesting for me. When you live forever, you need a little bit of stimulation. Wouldn't you all agree?
Luther may have cast aside his humanity, but he has not forgotten what it is to be mortal. He is enjoying this entirely too much. Because he was once mortal, he fears boredom above all else. That is his strength, but also his weakness. Something to take advantage of. Were it up to me, that is what I would do. We also think the same way. Therefore, we are not mistaken. You must keep the faith and move forward. The path you seek will come. A new path, desired by all.
Xiao has finally bust onto the scene! Huh, I see. So that was how you met. In that case, then that'll probably end up that way. And, maybe that's what will happen. Oh, sorry. When I was young and sickly, I used to stay in bed and read a lot of books. I always really enjoyed imagining what was going to happen. That's why I'm so curious about why Shion created Xiao and had you two meet when you did. From here on out, you'll be borrowing Xiao's power to put an end to Luther's plot. I wonder if everything leading to this was inevitable. Elder managed to revive, Theodore is still being used, and Luther keeps closing in on Shion. Maybe Luther would have suspected something if any one of those conditions weren't met. It was probably a future Shion only arrived at after seeing failure after failure. Any shortcuts and it all would have fallen apart. Elder was allowed to revive, and Zeno was rescued. That's one thing Luther doesn't know. Add it all up, and it connects to Shion's plan for the distant future. They're lining up all the pieces for that purpose. This must be how it starts. In fact, I think everything you've done has moved things forward. Sarah trusts you now after all you've done, and you've even got Mary helping you out. How is it all gonna come together? Let's watch the next recording.
Let me tell you a tale of a time long past. A tale of a foolish entity. And of a foolish person. It all began when the entity, a being possessed of boundless knowledge, met the person, a being possessed of boundless fascination. The entity gave the person knowledge and wisdom as the person desired. This was trivial information to the entity, but to the person, it became the foundation of their very evolution. The person ignited the entity's curiosity. Though the entity was all-knowing, it could not understand the person's heart, and so it was captivated. Thus did the entity and the person come to live side by side. They each gave what the other desired, and lived in prosperity for ages upon ages. The person was avaricious, yet indolent. They put forth every effort for the sake of comfort and ease. They used every ounce of knowledge. The entity was entertained by this unique course of action, but in its amusement, it made a grave error. Though the entity knew that the fruits of such indolence would bring forth destruction, it did not tell the person, because it desired to see how the person would be changed by what sprang forth. The foolish one was not the person. It was the one who knew the risks, yet did not convey them. The foolish one was I. Do not fret for me. I am glad that we met. It is an event that is irreplaceable to me. If it had not happened, I could not talk to you as I am now. This place would not even exist. People have told me that not knowing the future is what makes it exciting. As I am now, I agree.
Yes, I was totally right. I thought someone was meddling on Wolpal, and of course it was Luther. He acts like he owns the whole universe, messing around with whatever he wants. My prediction was right on the money, as infuriating as it is. Theodore's another one of his victims, too. To change your entire race after the fact. It's like, that's such an insane change to make. Just when it seemed Luther was going to have his way, you worked hard and managed to get the key to saving Theodore. If everything up until now has come from Shion's guidance, then you know what's up next. No matter how prepared you are, none of that is going to be easy. I'm sure that some of it will even be painful. Oh, but now that I've come this far, I just have to watch the rest. Okay, next up's the history created by Shion's final divergence matrix.
Yes. The 2-hour-long mission. And the end of Luther. A very eventful chapter.
I have long awaited your arrival. What do you think of my Shion impression? Totally captured the vibe, right? I mean, I'm technically a copy of her, so it wouldn't be that weird if I had ended up exactly like her. But I think Shion did enough of the whole mysterious and dignified act for the both of us. I'd rather talk like, you know, a real person. Anywho, let's get right to why I called you here. There's something I wanted to tell you directly. It's about Matoi. If I'm being quite honest with you, I'm not sure who or what she really is. We have no data on her. Surely you know as well as I do that someone with her insanely high level of skill sticks out like a sore thumb, right? And I don't just mean in the ARC's database. She's not even in Shion's records. It's like someone deliberately edited her out. Now, if it had been Luther, that much I could understand. But even he didn't seem to know about her. And if it wasn't him, I can think of only one other possible suspect. It had to have been Shion. They must have erased all record of Matoi. And it's not just Matoi that got wiped. Shion seems to have deleted all records beyond about, 10 or so years ago. Not just physical records either. Nobody in ARC seems to have any clear memories from then anymore either. This isn't the sort of data we can just salvage or trace back either. It's vanished straight out of existence. Bloop, gone. Something important had to have happened then 10 years ago. But we can't revisit memories that no longer exist. What we need to do is go back directly and see it all for ourselves. You are more than capable of that. And this isn't just to sate my own curiosity either. Shion is no longer with us, and Luther has fallen. ARX is taking its first steps forward into a brand new era. What that means is that I now need to maintain both the control Luther held and the calculations that Shion ran all by myself. That's why, if I want to ensure the safety and stability of this newborn ARX, I need to know as much as possible about what happened. That includes even things I might not want to know the truth about. That said, I won't pretend I'm not curious about it all. I'd quite like to see what happened before I ever even existed. Right then. Idle hands never accomplished anything, so let's get to work. If we just head back to the time that has been wiped clean from history itself, we should learn a thing or two. This will be a lot like the sort of time travel you've done already. You've been through so much already that I'm sure this trip will be just another drop in the bucket of your wildlife experiences. Shion might have even known I'd try to do this. Maybe that's why they chose you in the first place, you know? I'll be on backup duty. You just head to the target location. Let's find out what truly happened.
I think what Shion really wanted was to free ARX from Luther's clutches and give them a future. Shion must have tried and failed countless times, always reanalyzing and recalculating, until we finally arrived where we are today. I'm sad that we had to lose Shion, but assuming that all of this was accounted for, then I suppose it's something we just have to accept. Thanks to them, ARX finally broke away from Luther. But this still leaves plenty of questions unanswered. Shion erased all record of Oracle itself to hide our little predecessor from Luther. That was no, I suppose it would have been 13 years ago now. Only Shion, someone with direct access to the Akashic records themselves, could have pulled something like that off. But that might be where they went too far. Shion was an observer, not one who should directly meddle with the universe's affairs. Why did Shion go against the very purpose of their own existence just for our little friend there? What was going through Shion's mind? If we want answers, we're just gonna have to look to the past to find out.
Boy, is Alma ready for this plot twist? My alternate timeline self?
Listen, I know what you must be thinking. You want to go back to 10 years ago and see what happened, right? I had the same idea, but it looks like that might be out of the question. We're being completely blocked from intervening in the time frame after the second disappeared. Shion's doing, I'm sure. Shion made us forget, but won't let us go back and change anything. Pretty unreasonable, but she did always tend towards the extreme. That being said, it seems there are those who retain some of their memories. We should talk to them to try and figure things out.
Yeah, jumped ahead. But what happened in this episode?
So that's
No,
why
that
Shion
happened.
was trying to hide the second. If you created a being that almost turned into the new profound darkness, you'd want to keep that under wraps too. With the knowledge Shion granted them, the Photoners went on to fiddle with life itself, the legacy of which was the profound darkness. To negate this future, Xion created the second Claris craze. But that creation too almost succumbed to the profound darkness. You'd think Xion would go back before the second was made, fix everything up, and move on, but they couldn't. Because that would mean toying with the second's very existence, with life itself. I always figured Xion's guilt and regret came from granting the Photoners knowledge in the first place. But no, it was all about the second. Everything Xion did was to try and make it up to her. She was like a daughter to Xion. It must have been tough. But that's why Xion wanted to save her so desperately, and why they asked you for help. All this time travel has really taught me a lot. There's still plenty I don't get yet, of course. But we can't just travel back in time anymore. Now we need to gather what fragmented memories we can and piece together the truth ourselves.
No mention of Persona, huh?
I haven't seen you in so long. I was running all over the place working on acquiring special arcs authorizations, and you seem plenty busy yourself. You can probably tell as much already, but I'm pretty happy to see you again. Wait, you do remember me, right? Please don't tell me you forgot. It's me, Matoi, the one and only. Remember?
Of course I do, Matoi.
It's been a long time since I've heard you say my name. I'm going to be a real deal arts operative. After begging and pleading, Xiao is finally giving me authorization. Now I'll finally be able to fight alongside you. Yep, it's time to earn my keep too. That's why you called me out here today, isn't it, Xiao? As Ark's overseer, you're going to grant me authorization, aren't you?
Before I give you special permission, there's still one more lesson I need you to learn, Matoi.
What kind of lesson? No classrooms involved, I hope.
Don't get all pouty just yet. Our friend here will hear you out.
Okay then, I'm listening.
You really are an easy read. Now then, this lesson isn't any sort of formal lecture. I just want to get you both up to date on the current state of arcs. I'll be skipping over a lot of the history and finer details, but you can always ask me later about anything you want to know.
Uh-huh.
That's not the most reassuring of responses, but alright. Let's talk about arcs as a whole. Arcs had finally overthrown the puppet leadership Luther had in place. We lost Xion in the process, but there's no point on dwelling on that. What's done is done. It has taken us roughly half a year to get Arcs up and running again, to put it back on its proper trajectory. Back then, 6 months ago, there certainly was a real uproar when I said I would oversee the management of Arcs. But now everyone treats it like it's completely natural. Time really does normalize all. Next, let's talk about enemies. The Fallspawn. To be quite honest, the situation isn't great. Well, just take a look at this footage.
That would have been a cool planet to explore, it looked like.
that planets were just wiped out like it was nothing.
It copied a planet it consumed simply to smash it into another, playing with celestial bodies as if they were mere toys. Instead, it appears this horrible new Dark Falls, known as Gemini the Duplicate, destroys for the sheer thrill of it.
Gemini.
Gemini is already headed for its next target. The planet Harukatan, recently discovered and home to an alien civilization. That's Gemini's next stop.
We need to get over there then.
Right. Which brings me to my last topic. ARC's mission. Our mission now
Is to wipe out the false spawn and every Dark Falls out of existence and protect the lives of the universe's myriad inhabitants, right?
looks like you at least remember that much. Hey, got a moment? Can you keep an eye on Matoi and stick with her as often as you can? There's no telling when Persona the Masked might strike again like they did 10 years ago. Plus...
So I can be there when the time comes?
Right. Should push come to shove, I need you to be there to handle it. Your knowledge of the truth demands it. 10 years ago, she nearly became the profound darkness. This is an unavoidable truth. And while she seems fine now, there's no telling what might happen. No one knows. Not me, not you, not even her.
Hey, what's the matter? Let's get going.
She's in your hands now. You know what you have to do, right, Sarah? If anything should happen with those two, let me know immediately.
What sort of plan are you cooking up this time?
I'm actually hoping that nothing happens whatsoever.
Arx has secured its future, but without Shion's guidance. Any alterations to the past might overwrite the future that Shion worked so hard for. No more big changes, that's for darn sure. The time has finally come to accept the bitter truths of the past. I mean, this is probably how the world's supposed to be, right? I'm curious about what motivates Dark Falls. The enemy Arcs must fight for the sake of the future, especially this Gemini. And gosh, I hope the second's okay. Seems like she's pushing herself awfully hard. I'm one to talk. As for Persona, I've got my suspicions, but I think we need to look a little further ahead first. Our next story brings us to Harukotan, home to the tribes of Day and Night. I wonder what awaits us here.
On to episode 3.
So, this next Dark Falls, Gemini the Duplicate, has the power to make copies of anyone they devour. They sure did save the worst for last, didn't they? It seems they've already acquired the powers of Apprentice and Luther, and in all likelihood, Elder too.
Are they likely to show up on Harukotan again?
It seems to be one of their favorite playgrounds, so that's our best guess. If at all possible, I'd like to finish them off there. And there's no better way to find out the state of things on Harukotan than simply asking their goddess herself. Think you can handle it?
We sure can. All my test results are in and I'm good to go. Nothing can stop me now.
How about you? Are you feeling quite all right? I mean, if you are, great. I'm just a little concerned is all. Watching you out on the front line all the time like this, I can't help but see the similarities between you and her 10 years ago. Just make sure you know when to stop yourself.
Haruko-tan, home to both day and night. They sure have an interesting way of life down there. The endless conflict between the Daybreakers and Nightfallers gave birth to both the Ash Maiden Sukunahime and the Demon Magatsu, I guess no matter the place and no matter the people, one thing you'll always find is conflict. Think that'll ever change? Gemini seems to feed on these conflicts too. Nudging them along brings them satisfaction. But I guess it doesn't always work out so bad. Arcs did break free from Luther's control and take a step in the right direction at least. Still, Gemini is looking to be an unavoidable problem for Haruko-tan and Arcs alike. They've got the powers of Luther, they've had Apprentice for a decade already, and now they've even nabbed Elder. I can't imagine it'll be an easy feat to take down someone with the power to devour the likes of such dangerous entities.
They were actually pretty easy.
Especially since you and our little number 2 have been at your limits for a while now. That might actually be what's the most worrisome.
Was Magatsu really in the first chapter? Jeez.
The toy has gone missing. I have my people out searching for her.
Damn, that's already happened too.
But even if we do find her, I'm not sure there's anything you will be able to do. So why don't you just rest up for a change? That's all I can really ask of you right now. You see, this is why getting close to you life forms is rough. Stuff like this hits hard.
Right. So, I know we're just taking a look at past memories here and all, but this must have been rough. Wanting to look out for someone, but then winding up as the one that person fights to protect. I should know that well enough though, huh? I probably put Reggie and the rest in a pretty similar situation, I imagine. I did what I thought was best, but it must not have seemed that way for them. There's really no perfect solution. That's why this is so hard. But it won't do us any good to keep dwelling on that. We can pick the situation apart until the Rappies come home, and we're not done yet. So, the Nightfallers lost everything to Gemini. Luther was still alive in this universe inside of Gemini, and he helped you. And seriously, getting this all sorted out is Omega levels of ridiculous. The raw, unrestrained behavior of Gemini is what makes them a real threat. The only thing they were after was the resurrection of the profound darkness, and they pulled that off by giving themselves up to it. I'm sure things didn't go quite the way they planned, but still, they got what they wanted. They really did us in. But time is still moving forward. We're still alive in the here and now, so that must mean we've at least got hope. I hope you'll show me just what awaits at the very end of it all.
The Profound Darkness fight, right? Oh yeah. I had to go through the entire fight. Which I'm probably just do on casual for time's sake. Even though I can easily do this fight on hardcore. Thankfully I don't have to do that. None of that. Because it'll be the Profound Darkness and the final little segment in episode 4. But I'm gonna stop this here, and we'll possibly finish up episode Alma next part. Thanks for watching.